Okay. Probably quite good against the Primarina though, of course, because it's not really going to take too much damage initially from the attacks that Benjamin
Bestimmt
has
manche auch so, weißt du, Kopf frei bekommen, schnell so einen kurzen und dann geht's rein.
Ja, genau.
So, jetzt geht's hier los.
Yeah, we do see the Intimidate come out from the Incineroar. It is going to go down onto that Gouging Fire, low that attack by one stage, but not affecting the Dondozo, the Oblivious ability, given the immunity there. So we'll be able to hit pretty hard going into this next turn, or even disrupt with something like a Yawn. Has to be aware that there is the fake out from the Incineroar, though, that can disrupt the Dondozo's attacking options this turn.
Yeah, and I think he sort of highlighted on it, Yawn could be a very good way to be able to at least slow down Benjamin's setup strategy, which fake out is such an appropriate approach in order to go ahead and start getting those cumulatively going. However, that Yawn is such a priority that Benjamin has to recognize needs to be stopped.
We are starting this with a fake out into the Dondozo, going to prevent it from moving here, and the Howl coming out from the Gouging Fire, going to boost the attack on it and the Dondozo this turn, followed up with a huge Calm Mind from the Primarina. We're going to boost that special attack and special defense by one stage, starting to get set up here.
Yeah, so in essence, we see a double setup situation occurring. Thanks to the Oblivious, the Dondozo is now at +1 of its physical attack. Heavy Slam will be hitting neutrally into the Primarina, but also look at the sizes of these Pokémon. It sort of gives a bit of an indication that it's going to be a great option for Dondozo to actually try to prioritize whether it wants to go for the disruptive strategy or just full-on damage.
Yeah, and we are going to see maybe an attack into that slot, and another Howl coming out from this Gouging Fire, going to take the Dondozo to +2. The Gouging Fire will be at +1 now after that Intimidate. Initially, a big Moonblast coming out into the Dondozo after the Calm Mind boosting about 50%, followed up by a Party Shot.
Wave Crash reinschmeißen.
Law that attack, trying to keep it in check, but removing itself from the field, not to take any big water type attacks.
You can be only so oblivious to that Intimidate. Parting Shot being such a nice little way to circumvent that ability and bring it back down to +1 whilst getting this Raizor onto the field as fake out. It will allow for further HP recovery over time, as well as being such a great option.
Gelesen habe ich dich.
Yeah, big play here from Benjamin to get some nice damage off into the Dondozo. The grassy terrain coming on the field with that Rillaboom, and we are going to see the HP pulse at a little bit further with the leftover item, probably putting it just out of range from another Moonblast. The thing is, with the Rillaboom coming onto the field now, it does have access to that fake out and be able to go into either the Dondozo to slow it down this turn, or that Gouging Fire to prevent another Howl coming out while you try and utilize that Primarina.
And since it seems like Teddy's trying to rely a bit onto that Dondozo, he does have the option of going for the grass terrestrialization to resist any highly offensive grass type moves coming out from the Rillaboom. He's got the options of Grass Glide, Wood Hammer, if they don't want to opt to go for fake out. Gouging Fire, however, is still on the field. It's still in a good place to be able to provide further support. But we do have our first terrestrialization coming out right now.
It will be into the Rillaboom here. We'll be going into that fire terror type.
Primarina in Dozo.
Some attacks coming out from the
Aber der Protect von Teddy ist eigentlich so
but it does get in a weakness to those water type attacks from the Dondozo. Burning Ball Wall coming out from this Gouging Fire.
It wants to be able to catch
Let's go!
but it's completely ignored.
Let's go, Benjamin!
Onto the Dondozo. No
Und jetzt Calm Mind, Calm Mind!
Teddy's side, and all of a sudden you got such a pivotal Pokémon.
Calm Mind!
Completely knocked out.
Oh my God, let's go, Benjamin! Holy shit! Ist so drin!
Hast du diesen Confidence so?
Ist so drin! Ist so drin!
Oh no, it's going to be weak to those water type attacks, but disposing of the Dondozo so quickly, put himself in a great position.
Now on the field, we know this is choice banded. Its potential with outrageous damage output is definitely there. It's going to likely force Benjamin to really need to take into consideration to perhaps bring in the correct Pokemon to get those resists, because Dragonite, especially with this normal Terra potential E-speed, is going to be such a huge threat.
Yeah, and it's going to be hitting so hard here as we see that normal Terra type boosting these normal type attacks. The extreme speed coming out. Where will it be targeting into? It is the Rillaboom, and it will be enough to pick up a huge knockout.
Huge knockout. Terastallization is already gone as an option from Benjamin's side, as well as another fake out user, allowing this gouging fire to go for the howl setup. You thought Choice Band and normal Terra
Hypervoice auf plus 2 wäre big.
Think again. Now it's a +1 of its attack.
Yeah, this is very dangerous, very quickly. Moonblast fired out from the Primarina, going to do big damage in return, but not enough to disband this Dragonite this time around.
And allowing the gouging fire to still stay on the field gives Teddy the option of perhaps still embarking on the howl setup. There's nothing necessarily stopping himself. And now that the Rage Bolt is on the field, sure, you got Thunderclap priority, but you don't even have a setup already going, and the extreme speed will be able to completely circumvent that.
Yeah, and the extreme speed now really dangerous at +1 in particular. The gouging fire not wanting to stick around on the field, contending with any of those potential big dragon type attacks coming out. But you are going to see the Sword of Ruin come out with this Chen Pao, boosting those attacks even further. The Dragonite going to lock into this extreme speed +1 attack. Will it be enough to take out the Primarina?
Oh! Of course it is! Primarina is gone!
Die Night ist so crazy. Ja, hat halt auf Chen Pao gewechselt. Das war schon stark von Teddy.
The Dragon Pulse, however, is trying to go for the retaliation.
Okay, kriegt aber den Kill.
Onto the Dragonite, so one momentum swing to
das ist aber jetzt, glaube ich,
another,
ein Free Call Mine für Raging
trainers
Bolt.
down to their final 2.
Yeah, what a great play from Teddy there to bring in the
Chen Pao
to guarantee that the +1 extreme speed was enough to get rid of the Primarina that was becoming so threatening on Benjamin's side of the field. Losing it to the Raging Bolt, but you feel like an adequate sacrifice in that moment. Now 2-on-2. It's going to come very close at the end play of this game.
And this is going to force a very interesting scenario. Fake Out is on the field. Intimidate has dropped both Gouging Fire and Chen Pao's damage output. So this may lead to a defensive play if you're Teddy, which can also allow Benjamin more room to get a calm mind set up.
Yeah, and that's the danger about Benjamin's team. Going to be able to support here perfectly with the ability to calm mind potentially.
Nee, er kann nicht für Hard Protect gehen. Ich sag Benjamin, Fake Out hier vielleicht sogar in den Dingslot. In den... Oh, er hat so gemacht, okay. Weil er hat doch Chen Pao gefake out, okay. Okay, dann ist fein.
From the gouging fire, going to be super safe this turn.
Yeah, and because
er hat Chen Pao fake out, oder?
No longer having access to its booster
aber kriegt den Call Mine trotzdem raus. Also
Howl
von... Oh, geht für die Impuls?
Nee,
Benjamin. Nö.
Benjamin. A potential focus sash break or chip damage dealt.
Yeah, and we are going to see a situation
Man, Benjamin.
If the Bolt does take a double up this turn, it may go down to potential Icicle Crash that's there on that Chen Pao. The one play that you could see maybe coming out from Benjamin is to identify that, protect it this turn, and utilize the really healthy Incineroar to at least break the focus sash on that Chen Pao. And then you've got the Thundercap to take advantage of the next turn and then try and create this 2 versus 1 situation with the gouging fire.
However, we see the protect from the
Starker Protect.
being well aware
Ja, er macht so,
Ja, ich bin so wild, wenn Benjamin die ganze Zeit so zu Leuten in Crowd gucke, mit denen kommuniziert. Das ist richtig wild.
Breaking Swipe, klar, aber wenn er so ein Flareblitz Burn. Flareblitz Burn. Flareblitz Burn. Flareblitz Burn.
This Raging Bolt with super effective damage as Chen Pao is down.
Oh mein Gott!
Was?
Really unfortunate there to get the burn.
Ach du Scheiße, ich hab's manifestiert, das ist passiert. Benjamin. Ich hab dich, Benjamin, ich hab dich.
This next turn from the Raging Bolt. We talked about this, utilizing the Incineroar that turn, protecting
Ich hab dich, Benjamin.
where you can get rid of
Ich hab
this
dich,
big threat.
Benjamin.
Not only that,
Wir
you can
sind's.
get rid of the Sword of Ruin ability that is now active on the field.
And because the burn's in play, the Chen Pao can go for only so few amounts of protects in order to circumvent that Thunderclap priority coming out. Breaking Swipe will further lower the attack as well as the damage of the Incineroar and deal respectable chip damage whilst being at -1 of its attack.
Yeah, the Incineroar taking that pretty comfortably there. The Citrus Berry activating, getting a bit of that health back, and the Dragon Pulse into the Couching Fire, calling the Protect on that Chen Pao, and followed up with a parting shot.
What a clean play in order to force that Gouging Fire even further down in terms of available resource to it. Sort of Benjamin proving that you don't necessarily need to have a Calm Mind setup with this Raging Bolt. You just need to be able to perfectly position it based on the board state.
Yeah, and we are going to see Teddy lock in with the forfeit there. One to reset, take it to a game 2. Try again, but what a masterful game by Benjamin.
Oh, no doubt about it. Being able to go ahead and get that game advantage is so crucial, not only with the actual result, but also mentally speaking. You want to be able to put all of the pressure on the comeback onto your opponent from the get-go. It allows more room for yourself to be able to make that adaptation to any sort of further adjustments that Teddy may need and feel he has to be able to bring.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the way that Benjamin approached that game from the get-go was just so well done. Thinking, okay, well, the Howl's coming out. Teddy doing everything right as well at that point, you know, boosting the attack power of everything on their side of the field. But capitalizing over on the other side was Benjamin with that Calm Mind Primarina, really taking all the focus for Teddy onto that one Pokemon, getting some good returns with it as well. Dragonite coming out onto the field, the play where the Chen Pao come out as well, boosting that attack power to get that huge extreme speed off was massive. But you can see here the Dondozo was so threatening early on, those Howls coming out, boosting the attacks, the Oblivious ignoring the Intimidator. It just felt like the Dondozo was in a position to be like taking over.
It did, and that
Ich will Teddys Gesicht sehen, wenn Burn kommt.
Such an important piece to the board. He could have had those Yawn cycles going as well as the damage. And Teddy did try to make a really good comeback with the Dragonite E-Speed mode. However, it's the fact that Benjamin still had really good options in the back, just waiting for Teddy's resources to whittle down.
Yeah, and it came down to that few turns from the last turn where we had the Incineroar taking advantage of the Protect on the Raging Bolt, as that was really drawing in all the attention from the Chen Pao there. You know, the Chen Pao feels like it's in a really secure place with that Focus Sash attack, but as soon as that's broken, it does become a lot easier to deal with that Pokemon. Situation, it would have been there, ready to get taken down by a Thunderclap either way.
Yeah, I feel like Chen Pao would have been forced to try to go for such mind games, but we do have game 2 of the Senior Age Division Championships Finals. Dondozo and the Ting Lu versus Benjamin's Primarina and the Incineroar, and you once again do actually see the same leads from Benjamin, however, a bit of an adaptation from Teddy.
Yeah, the leads for Benjamin worked out so well from game 1, so no reason to really change things up going into game 2. Teddy adjusting really nicely here with the Ting Lu, bringing this to the field. It's going to give a little bit more security against those big special attacking threats that we see from the likes of that Primarina, from the Raging Bolt as well. Do have to be a little bit careful here because you're able to get around the fake out so well this turn. But there is the pressure here where you can get a Sand Tomb and a Yawn potentially onto that Primarina, something that Benjamin has to keep an eye out for.
And it's sort of to the point where you're wondering which fake out, which user is going to get faked out here. It has to be one of them. Seems like the priority is on the Dondozo due to the potential of that Yawn, as we have the Calm Mind set up from the Primarina in order to sort of mitigate, or should I say neutralize, the effects of the Vessel of Ruin.
Yeah, that's going to be big. And no, a Sand Tomb here, just a Ruination taking 50% of the Primarina's health.
Yeah, really nice play there. In order to start whittling down its HP over time, yes, it does have leftovers that it may be able to get access to in terms of the recovery you'd expect from a grass terrain. However, the important thing right now is trying to limit and get rid of every single Pokemon that Benjamin can rely on later on in the mid to end game.
Yeah, and we've already seen one Calm Mind set up, so we know the Primarina is kind of getting ready to start throwing out these moonblasts. Exactly what we see, but the Ting Lu's taking that Primarina pretty comfortably for being a super effective
Mal
attack.
Damage. Ja, genau, der predicted den Switch. Ja, genau, wer predicted den Switch mit Bjorn, Sandtooth auf Rillaboom. Das ist schon echt big.
But most crucially, the switch, the pivot. We've got potential of Rillaboom coming onto the field. It will be able to super effectively threaten both of Teddy's Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly that, and help recover some of that health loss on the Primarina as well. The Grassy Train setting up for the next 5 turns here, and also going to be able to have to contend with
Oh my god, Teddy,
huge
das ist so
miss here for
schlimm.
Teddy, not connecting with that Rillaboom as the Yawn comes in and does connect, but as we know with Yawn, it has to take 2 turns to be able to activate that sleep condition.
Hence why you need to get that Sand Tomb off. You're able to essentially lock in that target whilst the user does remain
Teddy
on the
Hater,
field.
ich
So that is
hate
sort of the
Dozo,
strategy it seems like Teddy's trying to rely
also
on.
wirklich,
Maybe
ich
a bit
habe
of an
mehr
indication
Tingu
that you've got the
Sandtooths gesehen dieses
fast
Wochenende als Treffen.
Chien-Pao
Zu
Dragonite
Recht.
mode in the back. Once
Ich
you've
hoffe,
been
die
able
Leute
to
sitzen zu
whittle
Hause
down
und denken
all of
sich, okay,
Benjamin's
den Scheiß
resources
spiele ich nie
initially.
wieder.
Yeah, and this Tinglu now in a really awkward position where it's either going to have to terrestrialize or
Das ist
protect
so
or
arg.
even switch out here because another Moonblast, if it's left in its current state, will be enough to pick it up, and you really want to try and preserve that ability as long as possible. The Dondozo are in a pretty comfortable position here. It's going to buy that Rillaboom, so can't take that for granted, but pretty healthy at this point.
Da ist von
where
mir
it
Timeout
can
probieren. Er kann mich
potentially
nicht
go for Yawn
timeouten.
if it wants to, but not contending with that. Dragonite going to enter the fray.
Oh, Teddy wants to try to make sure he has that offensive pressure in the subsequent turn in order to threaten that Rillaboom or even the Primarina. Really nice switch, of course, being able to handle that Wood Hammer due to its times 4 resisting typing there. Moonblast really wanting to finish the job with that Tinglu and allow it to open up even more damage potential. However, the Protect proving to be quite crucial.
Yeah, and it is going to give you a turn to be able to recover a little bit more health there, which might put you out of range from another Moonblast. Although the thing is, if a double up comes out from the Rillaboom and maybe a U-turn from the Rillaboom here into the Tinglu and then followed up with a
Ich sag, so ein Hyper-Voice hier wäre so geil.
Classic Glide might be just as good an option.
Komm, Benjamin, ist jetzt Zeit. Muss jetzt hier auch mal den Hyper-Voice loaden.
Means it was forced to likely succumb to that Yawn. However, we've got
Nicht
the switch
Moonblasten,
up here.
bitte.
Chien-Pao is on the field. Maybe a bit of an indication of Teddy really trying to falter through with this Dragonite and pick up perhaps a KO if possible.
Yeah, we are seeing that huge combination come out.
Ja, Teddy
once
muss
again,
Rillaboom
taking
wegbekommen, der
advantage
ist
of
zu
the
gefährlich für
Sword and the
Tinglu und Dozo.
Terrestrialization coming out from the Dragonite, boosting those normal type attacks. Isn't got enough to be able to deal with this Primarina.
Yeah.
Returning with a terrestrialization on the opposite
Okay.
side of the field. The Primarina this time going for that
strong.
steel terrestrialization, which is a great call here from Benjamin.
Yeah, it's just going to have to come down to which slot has been targeted. Extreme speed. This is going to be a powerful one if it goes into the Rillaboom, and it doesn't quite pick up the KO, but most crucially has forced the Primarina's hand to have to terrestrialize there.
Stark.
Moonblast, however, does break the focus on that Chien-Pao, bring it down to its final HP, and all of a sudden we've got a bit of an explosive turn coming out.
Yeah, great turn here from Benjamin. Going for the Moonblast, not into the Dragonite, which was the obvious target, but thinking, okay, if the Dragonite is going to terrestrialize here, the Chien-Pao is likely to come in on that slot. Let's get rid of that because it is one of those sort of ruined Pokemon that can boost and affect everything on the field. You want to disband of them as quick as possible. So even if the Tinglu stayed out on the field in this situation, you're not losing anything unless it does terrestrialize, but it's worth the risk, and it really paid off here. And the steel terrestrialization to give you the immunity, the resistance to those normal attacks is huge.
As Extreme Speed is going to pick off the Rillaboom, something that it feels like Benjamin had to forfeit in terms of this turn to allow that Incineroar and the Fake Out pressure
warum
to
hat der
jump in
Karte
for the
nicht Grass Glide
turn.
Dings
Sacred
versucht?
Sword highly threatens this now Steel
doch
Terra
eigentlich- er hätte ja
Primarina, so
auch-
it furthermore
aufwachen
shows
können.
why that was such a great switching from
Aufwachen.
Teddy's side to be able to have that insight into the following turn and the potential forced terrestrialization option Benjamin did opt for.
Yeah, we are seeing the Incineroar hit the field, but the inner focus on the Dragonite denying that Intimidate on this Pokemon, but the Chien-Pao is subjected to that, taking it down to -1 now, and the Fake Out going to be huge here to support this Primarina. Try and remove that threat immediately from the Sacred Sword there and allow the Primarina a bit of room to deal with this Dragonite.
And Teddy's opted to try to have this sort of split mode of the Tinglu Dondozo and the Chien-Pao Dragonite. But wait,
Kein
there's
Fake
no
Out.
fake out. Extreme Speed trying to target down the Primarina here. This may be a
Oh
double
mein
up
Gott.
and a KO onto
Er
the
hat
Prim
mit
as
dem
well.
Protect
Check
auf
the sword,
Chien-Pao
does pick up the
gerechnet.
KO, and that is a lot of momentum lost from Benjamin's side. Terrestrialization option is down. Benjamin does have 2 final Pokemon as well.
Yeah, Teddy really taking advantage of the potential of no fake out here, saying if you don't fake me out, I'm going to punish you. I'm going to go for the double up into that slot. The Chien-Pao going down, but a really good trade here. The Dragonite in a great position. Going to take a Flare Blitz for its troubles from this Incineroar.
Oha, Crit!
He hangs on.
Burn?
No, and no burn from the looks of things.
Das wäre wild gewesen. Das
Barely
wäre so,
surviving on
Ich
7
mein,
HP.
noch mehr der
Gets a
Crit
tiny bit of recovery there, and all of
Noch
a
mehr der
sudden,
Crit
we're in a
nicht.
spot where Teddy does still have the Dragonite. He can capitalize off of that damage, and now that Benjamin has final 2 Pokemon remaining, we have the potential of the Yawns being so disruptive to his strategy.
Yeah, they're the players that you can bring to the party now if you are Teddy. Still having that Dragonite though with the extreme speed. Going to be a real immediate threat here, especially to that Raging Bolt. Of course, it does have the upper hand on the priority bracket. After that, the Thunderclap, it will go before that. So initially, you're going to be able to definitely get attacks off into either the Raging Bolt or the Incineroar here. The Dondozo is a little bit threatened from the Raging Bolt, of course. Doesn't really want to have to contend with those Thunderclaps. But if you lock into Yawn, Thunderclap not really an issue for you because you have to be attacking to get attacked from that option.
And that's sort of the risk of having Thunderclap as your only electric type move when it comes to the set. And you need to be able to completely capitalize off of that. However, the Dragonite actually being safeguarded, swapped out for the future end game scenario. Tinglu will be able to reduce the damage output of this Raging Bolt. However, not going on the offensive, having the coolest and calmest of minds, getting that +1 in special attack and special defense. Incineroar, we have seen, has outsped the Dondozo previously. Flare Blitz focuses into the Tinglu, not quite enough to pick up the
Was? Niemals, oder?
But the Dondozo, it has not yet moved. Let's go for the Yawn into the Incineroar.
Goes into the Incineroar here, but it does leave that Raging Ball unchecked on Benjamin's side of the field, really taking advantage of that, getting the Calm Mind up and becoming a bigger threat going into this next turn. The burn there on the Tinglu, really unfortunate as a secondary effect from that Flare Blitz. Trying to get the Tinglu onto the field, obviously give you that, the ruin ability to bolster those special defenses against that Raging Bolt, but kind of backfiring a little bit here and putting in an awkward position going into this next turn.
It is going to force the Raging Bolt to go a bit on the defensive, opts to go for the Protect, followed suit by the Tinglu. So Dondozo may likely want to try to get that Yawn off once again. Flare Blitz trying to go and finish off the job when it comes to the Tinglu and even pressure the Dragonite if there is any switch-ins, and a bit of a stalemate from this scenario right now. However, the Incineroar will now fall asleep most crucially.
Yeah, and that's the big turn here for Teddy. It gives him a bit of alleviation from that threat on that side of the field, meaning that the Tinglu can potentially get a ruination off or even a Sand Tomb off into that Raging Bolt. Sand Tomb might be quite useful here if you can hit, of course, because that residual damage that you're getting every turn can help chip away. Combined with that Yawn, you know we'll be going to sleep the following turn, so it is something that Teddy could utilize here before that burn eventually does tick away and take it down.
And it may lead to a scenario where Raging Bolt may anticipate it and try to just focus down with the Dragon Balls, but once again, that allows this Dondozo to get that Yawn into it and maybe hope for the Incineroar not to wake up first turn in the next turn.
Kriegt den Double Protect durch.
We have the Protect once again coming out from the Tinglu.
Okay, das ist natürlich jetzt unangenehm für Benjamin.
Dragon Pulse, and this is looking like a bit of a pinlock.
Yeah, great play here from Teddy, protecting in the right moment, allowing the Dondozo to potentially get the Yawn off, and it's in, it hits to connect with the Raging Bolt. The next turn it will be going to sleep.
Double Protects are there for win conditions, and that is what Teddy has identified here quite nicely. However, he does still need to make sure that Incineroar is dispatched of. However, the Dondozo is a bit susceptible to Thunderclap. Most likely, we know Dondozos can take a lot of damage, and
das wäre halt insane.
However, it is going up against that +1 calm-minded Raging Bolt.
You've got to remember as well that Teddy still has the Dragonite in the back, so all you need to do is try and get a little bit of damage onto this Raging Bolt, and in range of knowing that it will be taken down to an extreme speed. A huge protect here coming up from the Raging Bolt this turn.
Quite interesting here, maybe anticipating the Dondozo, going for the protect as well.
Oh mein Gott, let's go! Er geht für Parting-Shot. Nicht Flairblitz in Tinglu.
Er ist aufgewacht.
Hä? Ja, ja, das war schon okay. Aber wäre Überblick gewesen.
Yeah, definitely. It does allow Benjamin to have a little bit more wriggle room going into
Er will
this
jetzt
next turn.
Dings
Now the
Abgangstiraden
Raging
oder
Bolt falling asleep, so not
Wobei
going
es
to be a
natürlich geil
big threat
ist.
at all this next turn. Do have to worry though about it waking up at any point, going for the thunderclap into
Weil Dragoan
potentially
jetzt
an
nicht da
attacking
ist und
Dondozo.
Tinglu
But
macht keinen
the
Druck
Dondozo in a
gerade.
nice position here to get some good damage onto the Incineroar. At the cost though, you're probably going to have to look at taking
Ja, der
a
steht jetzt
parting
eine
shot
Runde.
for your trouble, becoming a little bit weaker at the same time.
Gut, wo ist? Er misst. Er misst. Oh mein Gott! Was ist für ein Match?
Immerhin sind beide so.
Ja, das ist wie für Teddy. Was ein Match, holy shit.
Aber das ist cool.
Yeah, huge turn of events here for Teddy, doing everything right, getting a bit fortunate when needing to. Has had a little bit of luck against himself, evening up the tables here. Huge knockout onto the Incineroar, leaving this Raging Bolt the only line of defense left for Benjamin against these 3 Pokemon on Teddy's side. Although 2 now because of the burn chip. The Tinglu done a good job here, but allowing the Dragonite to now come onto the field.
Perfectly timed KO there from the burn to allow the Dragonite to actually now come onto the field and finish up this game too. What a nice way to be able to sort of weave your way through the 2 different modes you've opted for, the Dondozo, Tinglu disruption, as well as that very highly offensive Dragonite and the Chien-Pao. No wake up here, extreme speed is going to be targeting the Raging Bolt. It's not quite going to be able to pick up the KO, but guess what will? It's going to be this Dondozo, and there we have it.
Verstehe, dass Leute sagen, sie wollen Zeit sparen, aber ich würde trotzdem
What an incredible turn of events here to tie up this match. Take us to a game 3, which is exactly what we want, because this is going right down to the wire at every side of things. Teddy doing so well in that match, dealing with a really awkward situation, bringing it back, clutching it, keeping that Dragonite alive as well till the last moment, and needed to bring in, utilizing the extreme speed and closing things up with that Dondozo.
And bringing the Dondozo Tinglu initially straight off the bat, knowing that Benjamin wants to rely a bit on setup, is so nice. We've got this Ruination that just essentially halves the HP of the target. With combination of Sandtoon, that would have been really nice if it had connected onto the Rillaboom, locking it into its slot, but the Dragonite E-Speed
just proved to be so crucial.
Yeah, it was really good in the end, and you know, the Dragonite, I think the double up there, playing on the fact that Fake Out was there, maybe Benjamin getting a bit cheeky, bit ahead of himself in that situation and getting punished for it. Teddy, I'm realizing that, going for the double up there, saying if you're not going to fake me out, well, I am going to take down the Primarina in this situation, and getting a big return there. You could see what Benjamin was doing because he really played off it in game 1, but Teddy saying, he's caught out with it in game 1, not getting caught out with it in game 2. The Incineroar, though, they're putting in so much work, that huge critical hit onto the Dragonite as well, so close to taking it down, nearly over there for Teddy, but hanging on and doing just enough to get through this match.
In so einer Situation ruhig zu bleiben. Hat schon so krasse Results geholt.
Getting crits, getting burns, wherever
Und
it
es ist
goes.
halt Benjamins erste
has
Season.
been very well trained from the looks of things, except of when it tries to go for Will-O-Wisp.
Yeah, and that was really unfortunate. Benjamin wanting that to hit because it does make the Dondozo much less of a threat and starts the counter on it, ticking down that HP as well, helping with that at least. Missing, not really great, but you know, you've got to say, you get some, you lose some, and that's just how it worked out in that turn.
It really did. So, the real question is, how do both of our trainers adapt going into the game 3? There's so much on the line, prizes, notoriety when it comes to your achievements, and just generally so much hard work being put into from both these trainers, being able to wrap up, get that title. It's going to be such an accomplishment.
We are getting into it, and no adjustment from Benjamin as we get into this game 3. The Primarina and the Incineroar leading on that side of the field, and Teddy leading off with the tried and tested Dondozo and Tinglu.
Yeah, Teddy's looking to likely go ahead and try to go through with the Sand Tomb Yawn cycle strategy, as long as Benjamin has the potential of getting this set up with the Primarina. So Fake Out, we previously saw in Game 2, did target the Dondozo. Yawn on any Pokemon of your team is so crucial. It forces you to either switch out or have to sit in and get that sleep.
Going straight for the Fake Out though, the Incineroar not wanting to allow a Yawn to come out from that Dondozo as the Primarina starts the setup, going for that +1 with the Calm Mind in special attack and special defense. It does leave this Tinglu open to go for an attack, and it goes for it, hitting the Ruination, taking the Primarina down to 50% health.
Yeah, consistently going for the lines that you feel have the highest probability of your success is what is needed. It seems like both of the trainers are doing the exact same as Game 2. Maybe Benjamin's side wanting to hold off from the terrestrialization a bit longer, which may prove to be more flexible for mid to end game scenarios.
Yeah, definitely, and I think if you do go for the terrestrialization, you want to have ways in which you can better deal with that Chien-Pao, because as long as that has taken care of, as long as it's gone off the field, then things get a lot easier, especially against a Dragonite that may be locked into an extreme speed.
As the Protect is going to be the option from the Primarina. It doesn't want to fall susceptible to any sort of Ruination or even heavy slam combinations to pick up any cheeky KOs that it could do so. But parting shot into the Dondozo. Similar fashion, this may be a Rillaboom.
Yeah, and I think the Rillaboom coming in here is the obvious call. Maybe you can scout that out before Teddy can take advantage of this play in particular, but we are nonetheless going to see the grassy terrain set up onto the field, and the Rillaboom be here, taking a huge Ruination for its troubles.
Yeah, not wanting to go for Sand Tomb in case the miss may come back. However, the Yawn is still going to target that. So once again, Teddy recognizing the Primarina's board state, wanting to go on the defensive. This is going to force Benjamin once again to have to consider, is it really worth getting a Fake Out or a Wood Hammer at this stage, or do I have to feel forced to switch another Pokemon in?
Yeah, I feel like it didn't really work out in that game too, so maybe we want to preserve that Rillaboom, have it active, but not choosing to do so. Going for the Wood Hammer into the Dondozo, but not enough to pick up the knockout.
Not enough at all. 16 HP survival, but the Moonblast, a double up is definitely enough. Dondozo we saw was so crucial for Teddy's side in Game 2. It is gone from Game 3, and this set Ruination focusing into the Primarina will now definitely bring it down to extreme speed range, but will have to depend if we see a Steel Terror once again.
Yeah, that's the big question here as we go forward. At the cost of taking down the Dondozo, this time the Rillaboom now falls susceptible to that sleep condition after the Yawn the previous turn at a worthy cost, I think. And now the thing is, the Chien-Pao's not on the field. This is force out that Chien-Pao. Can you kind of position yourself in a play where you can terrestrialize with the Primarina here? The Chien-Pao not on the field, so not really threatened by it right now. Can you go for that Moonblast into that Tinglu slot, predicting it to come in, but position your Rillaboom off the field, get the Incineroar so you have that active Fake Out the next turn, or at least have the ability to pressure that slot so it isn't accessing that Sacred Sword straight away.
No switch outs from either trainers. We are going to have that normal Terra Dragonite ready to be unleashed. Just looking left, right, and center for damage. We know that Benjamin is going to be put in a very tough spot right now. However, the immediate adaptation, which Pokemon is going to Terra here?
It's going to be the Primarina, of course, going for that Steel Terrestrialization. No switch to the Chien-Pao here, so no sort of Ruin on the field just yet. But the Primarina primed and ready to go, as well as that Dragonite that locks in to the extreme speed. Where will it be going into? It is into the Primarina.
Never mind, okay, er hat die Kalks. Er hat die Kalks, never mind.
Sort of Ruin could have been in the scenario. Mandatory, we see the additional turn of sleep from Benjamin's Rillaboom. Hyper Voice just wanting to guarantee damage here. And the Sand Tomb, not only does it come out, it connects onto the Rillaboom and forces it to remain on the field. So Teddy could have even been expecting a switch up in that slot.
Yeah, switch up in that slot would have really punished it with the Sand Tomb, but it is going to continually chip away at the Rillaboom and get past that recovery from the grassy terrain. Now the Dragonite in a great position just to close up either one of these targets. Even with that steel terrestrialization on the Primarina, it is going to be able to pick up the knockout without the Chen Power on the field. Because it's doing so much damage, you can see even Resisted going to be able to get the knockout, forcing the Primarina to almost have to protect here, allow the Rillaboom to hopefully go down, and then allow something else like maybe the Incineroar to come onto the field for that line of support to alleviate some of the pressure that is immediate right now.
But the Primarina could try to go on the offensive, anticipating a focus into the Rillaboom
Komm,
slot.
kein
Trying to
Protect.
pick up a cheeky
Kein
KO
Protect
if
mit
possible
Primarina.
with the Calm Mind
Ja!
boosted.
Let's
Move
go!
onto the Tin Lou.
Schön, 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 Benjamin, schön!
No protect from the Primarina if it does outspeed
Schöne
and
Sache.
outdamage this Tin Lou. We may be seeing a bit of an upset here, but the target is
Aber
into
es
the
geht nicht, aber es ist okay,
Dragonite.
ist okay, ist okay, ist okay,
However,
ist
it
okay.
survives.
Er kommt leider nicht in Fake-Out-Range.
Misses.
Oh, das hält zu
One out of three connects
Miss!
there.
Oh, aber es ist auch
Unfortunate
einfach
for
ein
Teddy,
Scheiß-Move,
and to
wirklich.
get
Es
some
ist auch
damage
einfach ein
off of the
Arsch-Move.
Primarina, really
Es ist
useful
krass,
into
wie
the
viele
Dragonite, but a
Hacksachen
huge
die
survival
ganze
because
Zeit
it
Ist auch
gives
ein
Teddy
Arsch-Move.
another
Das
opportunity
ist
to
schon
fire off
crazy.
one of these big priority
aber
attacks that are doing so much
schlecht.
damage each and every
Ich frag mich,
turn.
mit wem
Incineroar
Benjamin
now
die
coming
ganze
back
Kurve
onto the field,
mit
has
seinem Arm,
Fake
glaub
Out
ich.
active,
Ja,
so is
schon.
going to be able to at least stop the Ting Lu from
Weil
attacking
die
this
könnte ihn
next
doch
turn.
irgendwie auch
And
so
Dragonite may
Hinweise
even be
geben,
within
was
range of a
Aber die ist
fake out
nicht in
KO,
Pokémon, sondern nur in
even
den
not
Supportern
necessarily
Ja,
going
aber-
for the flinch there, but it'll have to depend. Dragonite tend to be a bit
Aber
bulky,
so rein
naturally
theoretisch.
speaking, in their
Hat jeder so ein
stats.
Whiteboard
But
unten
being able
aufgebaut
to at
und
least
sich
Nein,
dann weiter
aber-
so Sachen
pressure
auf.
Keine Ahnung,
Primarina
wenn,
still on
sagen
the
wir jetzt,
field,
ich sitze in der
dealing
Crowd und du
damage
spielst
has
gegen die andere
forced Dragonite
Person
to
und
be
ich
so
sehe, was du
low,
so
is
klickst. Du
so
rufst die an
crucial.
und ich mime dir irgendwie so
Yeah, exactly.
Protect
Yeah, and I
oder
think you
so.
really want to prioritize keeping
Dann
that
ist er
Dragonite for
ass.
as long as possible. Don't want to let it go down at
Hoffentlich
any
wird die
cost,
Loop
really. So we may see Teddy readjust his board position here.
Okay.
We are going to see
Oh,
a protect from this
Benjamin macht
Ting
den.
Lu, and it is going to
Fake out in D-Night. Fake out in D-Night. Warte, aber der hat doch
It's
Dings.
not enough. It survives the fake out.
Der
Yeah,
hat
but then
doch,
inner focus,
Concentrator.
not allowing it to be flinched. It is going to get the
Oh,
extreme speed
hä?
up, not into the
Übergut.
Primarina, into the Incineroar.
But it does
Übergut.
allow this Primarina room
Der Protect
to
of
try
Primarina
to
geredet,
focus
glaub ich.
down and be able
Benjamin
to
hat die
pick up the
Technik an alle.
Dragonite
Er
Citrus
kommentiert mit der
Berry
Crowd, guckt alle
recovery.
richtig gut in die
However,
Kamera,
Hyper
er
Voice
spielt.
is
Ich
out
weiß nicht,
and
was
at
er
that
nicht macht.
range,
Aber da kommt
it
jetzt
will
noch
most
Tien-Pao.
definitely pick
Den
up
musste
the
er
KO
jetzt noch
onto
mit
Dragonite.
Flairblitz burnen.
No longer being available for Teddy in order to get that burst damage potential out.
Okay, das wird
Yeah,
jetzt wild,
really
das wird
taking
interesting.
advantage of the position that he was in. Benjamin able to get another attack off onto the
Die
field.
Primarina,
The
ne?
fake out pressure enough there to put Teddy off
Aber
going into
das
that
war
slot
einfach
with
cool.
an extreme
Primarina
speed.
ist es
In
einfach.
case of risking going into a protect in this situation, going after the guaranteed damage into the Incineroar here, which makes
glaube,
a
er
lot
kann
of sense,
Incineroar
but
echt
getting
nochmal
punished at the
rauswechseln,
same
oder?
time, losing the big attacking
Genau,
option
Party schon
that you've
oder
got,
ist
but you've got the
Flairblitz?
Chen Power to come onto
Boah,
the
ich will
field
jetzt nicht
now.
in Benjamins
Has got
Haut
access to that
stecken.
Sacred Sword, going to be super effective into that now Steel Terror type Primarina.
And Primarina is such a big
extra
player
protect.
from Benjamin's side. You've got the potential of being able to outrightly pick up KOs on both the Ting Lu and Chien Pao as the turns progress. However, Benjamin hasn't revealed their final Pokemon. It is most likely gonna be the Raging Bolt, which is what Chien Pao has been brought for. But if there's any sort of cycling out
Slot.
here, it
And
could be
Incineroar
quite
slot.
crucial unless Teddy goes for a read of an Icicle Crash into an Incineroar, predicting a Raging Bolt switch.
That would be a big call here, and I think at this moment in these big games, sometimes the big calls is exactly what you need. We're going to see the
Okay.
Sand Tomb locked into that Primarina.
Er wechselt echt
As
raus,
Miss
aber er ist
Swans,
nicht
the
für Icicle
Incineroar
gegangen. Let's
exiting
go.
from the field.
Sehr gut, sehr
The
gut, sehr
Raging
gut.
Bolt, if it is chosen, it is. It comes onto the field. Are we
Der
going to
kriegt
see
kein
that
Icicle
Icicle
Crash, sondern
It's
Sacred Sword.
not just a Sacred Sword into that
Let's go,
Pokemon,
let's
but
go.
doing some
Hyper
respectable
Voice.
damage. Forward
Schöner
struggle,
Damage.
taking a Hyper Voice, doing
Sand
big
Tomb.
damage to both the team.
Und der Miss!
Der
Miss!
Aua,
So
Teddy
ein
hat
dreckiger
keinen
Move.
Bock mehr.
Den spielt man auch einfach nicht.
So unfortunate for Teddy
Gott.
doing everything right there,
Aua.
covering bases. The Sand Tomb
kein
again missing, really,
Sand
really
Tomb.
unfortunate, but giving room for this Primarina to sit on the field so freely here.
Buddy, warum
Raging
beleidigst
Bolt
du
coming
jetzt
in now,
so?
and the ability now for Benjamin to be able to maybe even switch out the Primarina if they choose to the Incineroar to give support to the Raging Bolt, kind of change things up here to give a different
Es
outlet.
ist das,
to
was Richard
remove
sagt,
that
for real,
Chen Power
ne?
before
Der
bringing
hätte
the
doch mit Buddy
Primarina
Press
back
Primarina
in
schon
to
5-mal
try and
töten können,
close
oder
this
nicht?
game up.
and there could have been a situation where the body press picked up the KO, but no, their Sacred Sword will be doing so. No switch out of the Incineroar there. Benjamin likely wanted to return the fake out pressure immediately after, but no protection from the Raging Bolt either. Benjamin really going in with this play. Dragon Ball targeting the Chiampao. It is enough. It picks up the KO, and this Ting Lu has a lot of pulling weight it has to do in order to bring this back. Body press not quite enough to deal any sort of respectable damage to the draft.
No, and with
Benjamin
steps a little bit closer to sealing this one up, so that's what we're going to have to contend with this next turn. Of course, the Ting Lu does have access to protect here, so can get around that the next turn, but doesn't feel like it's got the damage output to be able to deal with this.
Benjamin! Let's go!
Gott, seine Eltern ist das süßeste überhaupt, holy shit.